Hi there, this is Catherine with Enfolded Heart Music. Today we're going to be finishing up the walkthrough tutorial for the lyre song Dance for the Sun. This is the third part, again the final part of our series on this piece. So if this is the first video that you're watching, go back to the first one. There's two other sections that I will include the links to in the description below. So check those out first before watching this one. If you are here to finish off the piece, then I feel like a sort of congratulations might be appropriate, or just a little word of celebration that you have made it this far. We really only have a very little part left to the piece, and so you have learned by and far the majority of the piece, and that's a wonderful thing. So we are going to go ahead and jump in. We'll do a review first, kind of like we did in the second part, the second video for this tutorial series, and then we'll jump into the new content and put it all together. So come back for the review in just a minute. Okay, so let's do just a little recap of what we have done thus far. In the last video, our second part to the tutorial series, we focused on sections D, E, and F. And this was primarily the bridge section of the piece. We were up in a higher key, this key of C, right? A really bright key, a very major key. And today we're going to be going back down to the minor keys where we started in part 1. But we worked on, again, on D, E, and F in part 2. And let's just talk through very quickly where you should be and the order of the piece up until part G, which is what we will do today. This will be the new section, and again, the final section of the piece. So we have part A, B, and then C, 1, 2, 3, right after each other. And then in measure 27, those three notes, those triplets that lead into 27, we return to part A again. So A, B, C, then A. After that, you should be going into part D. This is in measure 35. Part D is followed by part E. E is the first part of the bridge, strictly speaking. After E, you should go into F. That continues the bridge, and that has that same rhythmic pattern that we've had at the beginning. That right, that's F. Okay. So we recognize that. We played that before in parts A. So we have F, and then after that, this is kind of where we stopped last time, but I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. After F, in measure 61, you should go back to part B. And part B is the part that goes like this. Okay, that's the exact same. B, I have that labeled in my music as B1. That should be the exact same. It is exactly the same as the first time you play that section at the very beginning of the piece. From there you go to C, which again is exactly the same ordering of these parts as we did before. So before we had A, B, and C at the very beginning of the piece, and now we haven't gone back to A. I like to kind of do that. Sometimes I hold that off to the end, so you're sort of waiting for it, you're wanting it to return. But we do have B and C followed by each other. So that sequence is exactly the same. After C, you'll go back to A. And this is beginning with the pickup notes into measure 78. I'm going to come back around in just a moment and loop back to one very, very small difference in part B in measure 75, but for the time being, I'm gonna keep going with this little review. So then we finally return back to A in 78. And then in the pickup notes to 87 is where we will have our new content. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that we take a note of is, this is sort of leaving a little bit of the threshold of review to slightly new content, I suppose you could say, but I'm going to keep it here because it's more pertinent here than in the next section. But in measure 75, again, this is part C. And part C, just as a little bit of a reminder to your ear, is the part where it goes. Okay, so that's the section that we're at. I have one small variation just to add a little bit of extra flavor as we return to these themes. So in measure 75, you have an extra note here. So before we had E, am I on E? Yeah, there we go. E, D, C, and we went straight down, B, A. That was the first time you play C. This time we jump back up to that E. So you'll have E, D, C, B, jump up to E, and then down to A. So with that pickup note, here's how that will sound. I'll play that one more time for you. So the only difference is that E that's thrown up in there. Okay. If you have questions about that specific measure, feel free to send me an email. Put a little comment in there. But I don't want to go through that whole section again because everything else is exactly the same. So that's the only part that's different. Okay. I'm going to wait to play through all that we've done until the very end when we have our last section in here. But if you're a little confused of the order, even though I've talked it through, I've tried to walk it through as best as I can, my suggestion is to go back and listen to the original recording of this piece that I again will put in the description part of the video. So listen to that, follow it along as you're practicing and playing, and that will guide you in the proper order. So that's where we should be. We're going to start again in section G in just a moment. That's measure 87, those pickup notes to 87, and we'll finish off the piece. That's all we have left is just part G. So come back for that when you're ready. Okay, so we are ready to start part G, section G. Again, have your metronome out. As a reminder, we'll have it set to, you can't read that, but it says 100 on there, and it should be in 4/4. However your particular metronome is meant to set, that should be in 4/4, so you have 4 beats in a measure, 4 quarter notes in a measure to be a little bit more precise. And this section, we're going to take it kind of 2 or 3 measures at a time. What this section basically does is it has a sort of fading effect in the sense that we repeat some of the same rhythmic and note patterns, but in slightly different places sometimes, and then we kind of want the song to sort of fade away in a certain sense. All right, so let's just start off by taking a look at the first pattern, which we'll repeat again a little bit later in the section. So looking at the right hand, we've just come from, so a little bit of context, we've just come from our part A, all right? And we know from before that our left hand is on that A and G, and our right hand is up here, right? So we're in A minor and G major. That's where we're hanging out. And we're going to continue to stay in that as we go to part G. So you can leave your left hand here on A. I have it just positioned on A. That's where we're going to be in measure 87. But let's focus on the right hand. So what are these notes? We're going to be very familiar with these notes, actually, because it's what we've played probably 6, 8, maybe 10 times already. So we have the same pattern where we have D, C, B, A. All right. I'm going to pause there because that goes together more than the rest of it. So this is I actually don't need to go that slow. This is what we've already played before. Let me play this with the metronome. Oh, turn the volume on. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Left hand is same thing that we had before. So we have A, B, and C. So just for good measure, I'll put those together for us. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'm going very fast because we have already played that section many times before. What's different about this though is that after we've done this pattern on from D down to A, we're going to do the same pattern except one string higher. We're going to start on E. I'm looking at the very end of measure 87. These are the pickup notes to 88. So we have E, D, C, B, and B again. And the left hand will also shift down to our G position, where we have G, A, and B. So the right hand, let's do those notes in the right rhythmic pattern. Again, this is the same rhythmic pattern as what we just had a moment ago. One, 2, 3. Okay. The left hand now, we'll do that just left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's put the two hands together. Just this one measure, okay? Starting on the E, going down to the B, and then we'll put those two little phrases together. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's put them both together. This will make a little bit more sense. I may have cut that a little bit too much into small pieces, but this phrase repeats itself a moment later, so it's worth spending an extra moment on it. So let's do for measures 87. This is 87 and 88 together. All right, here we go. The beginning of part G. 1, 2, 3. Let me do that again. I was a little bit speedy on that. My apologies. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And one more time just for good measure since I was a little fast on that other one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at just the next sort of measure and a half, because after that we're going to return to exactly what we just did. So what's in between those? You know what, let me draw your attention to where it repeats. So the pickup notes to 91 is where you'll see this section that we just played. You'll see that repeated again. So what's in between these two parts? We have a pickup note into measure 89, and that's on a B. Then we travel up to C, up to D, down to C again, and back up to D. Then we have up to F, and down to E. One more time. Again, that's B, C, D, C, D, up to F, and down to E. Here's in its proper rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Okay, now where's the left hand? So we had the left hand in measure 88. We had that in our G position. We're going to move it back up to A for this spot. So we have in measure 89, we have A, C, B. And then we have those same notes repeated again in 90, A, C, B. But the rhythms are a little bit different in each of these. And again, this is another section where I would say if it's particularly hard to do the left hand just by itself, I would do both hands together, because that left hand, like I mentioned in the last video, the left and the right hand are meant to complement each other, particularly in their rhythmic movements. And so the left hand is going to add kind of an extra punch in there, and that's going to be different if the right hand is doing something different, which they are doing something quite different in these two measures, 89 and 90. The emphasis on the beat is different, so they're going to be quite off. But again, those notes are the same in both measures. That's A, up to C, and down to B. So how do they sound in their proper rhythm by themselves? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And together. This will make a little bit more sense, most likely. All right, together. 89 and 90. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And after that, we will return to that same theme that we had earlier. So again, we have this that again is measures 91 and 92. So let's go ahead and keep going into our new territory. We have in measures, let's do 93 and 92. Yeah, these are small chunks because I think it's a little bit easier to do it this way. They might be a little bit too small, a little bit too choppy, but better smaller than too big, I think. So we have a pickup note to 93, which is B. And then we have C, B, A, G, A, B, A. Let me say those again. We have B, then 93 is C, B, A, G, A, B, A. Now, how do these all fit into one measure? It might be, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Let's take a look at those left-hand notes. Just another note of a different nature. In measure 90, you'll notice this B that we're starting on to do the... That's the same B. You're going to already be on B. Coming into that note. So you'll see in measure 92, you have 3 Bs in a row. So that's just to say that as you practice this section, pay attention to what finger you have on that B as you finish the previous phrase. It's almost certainly going to be your thumb, so you're going to need to move that. You'll probably have something like, here we go. Right, so you'll pretty much... Yeah, I couldn't really see another way for you to do it because you have those 4 notes right in a row. So you're almost certainly going to end on that thumb. So I would switch from your thumb to your pointer finger after that to do this phrase. And the way that I personally do it, there's many different ways to do it, but I do my pointer finger on that B, then I use my middle finger for the C. Same for B, using that pointer finger again, and then I also use my pointer finger to go down to the A, and then thumb for G, A, F, pointer finger for A, middle finger for B, and pointer finger for A again. So the only time I move my hand is to use my pointer finger for both the B and the A. That's personally just how I do it. So do it a couple times slow and then speed it up and see how that feels for you. And try and move your hand as little as possible is the only concrete advice I would give to you. The more you move it, the more you're going to have a chance to miss the string. And so it's better to have less of those instances rather than more. Okay. So the left hand now, quite simple. We were already on, we were on G before in measure 92. And we move back up to A. We just have A and C. And let's go ahead and pair the next measure, which is measure 94. That's almost only left hand. We have one small pickup note in the right hand. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So again, 93, we have A and then C. And then we have a nice little kind of solo for the left hand, where you have in 94, A, B, C, E, to B. Okay, so how does this sound with the metronome? 93 and 94. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now let's put these two hands together. 1, oh, sorry, let me start on the 1 for the metronome. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then we're almost done. What do we have at the last part here? So let's take a look at 95 and 96. All right. You know what? Let's take a look at just 95 first, because if you'll notice, 95, 96, and 97 are essentially the same. This is that kind of fading out feeling that I was speaking of earlier. So you've seen already that we have some sections in part A, that kind of main theme, that main, which we heard up here as well. And now we're hearing for the first time here. So that's kind of, the listener will be very familiar with that. And so we're bringing that back at the end. And again, moving it in different places, but staying with something very, very similar. And it kind of fades out. And this last part is a small variation on that. And again, but actually repeats itself directly rather than just moving in different parts. So it gives that kind of fading, and a nice kind of taper to the song. So just as a little insight into the way it's written, and also to help you be able to enter into the song, to play it with greater beauty in your dynamics and in just your ear, to be able to hear how to really draw forth the most beauty from this piece. So, okay, so measure 95. We're starting on B again. You know what? It's always a strange thing to look at the sheet music while I'm doing this. All right, so this is actually the same, almost exactly the same thing that we just did, but it's a quicker turnaround. What I mean by that is that it will repeat itself more quickly after each other. And I'll put this together in a moment, so this is making a little bit more sense. So we're gonna have the same thing. We have B, C, I'm in measure 95, back to B, then A, G, A. So that's the exact same thing as that first part of 93. The left hand is the same too, we just have that A. So I'm going to do, this will add some nice context, I'm going to do 93, 94, and 95 together. So you can see just how similar it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do that again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 95. 96 is the exact same, literally the exact same as 95. So we've just played, we'll play it again. Oops. And the third time. So where was that? Where was a little bit different? A little bit different is in 97, that third time that we play it right after each other. We play this a total of 4 times, 93, 95, 96, and 97. But the third time, right in a row in 97, we have a little bit of something different with the left hand and the right hand at the end. So let's take that a little slower. So we've had already, we again have B, and then in 97 again, C, B, A, G, A. And instead of waiting or pausing, we're gonna go right into B and back down to A. The A I'm speaking of now is measure 98. And as we play those that A and B at the end of 97, you'll play a C and a B with your left hand. So it'll be again. So let me play 95, 96, and 97 together for you. One, 2, 3, 4. And as you go with that A and B, you'll start to really start to slow it down. Okay? So then we have 98 and the end. So this is the last little trickle for the end of the piece. So we've just done A and B in our right hand. We'll return to A in 97. And it's a little bit easier if I do both hands together on this, because they travel up the lyre together. They don't actually travel together. They travel one right after the other, but it's all kind of one phrase. So as your right hand hits A in that second to last measure, which is 98, your left hand, this position that we've been in with the A, B, C, and E, we're going to stay there and actually play those exact notes. So as your right hand hits A, so will your left hand. But your left hand will keep going. A, B, C, E. Your right hand will then pick this pattern up and it will go A, C, E, and then a little bit of a teaser note of G. And then you will play the left and the right hand together. You'll have A at the top, and you'll have A, C, and E with the left hand. And rather than playing it as one chord, you'll play it what's called a broken chord, where you play them slightly separated from each other. So rather than you play, it's like you glaze along it real quick. So let me do this in slow-mo before we do anything with the metronome. So we have had in 97 our last run of that pattern. I'm not going to turn the metronome on because I'm slowing down, and so it's going to just sound silly and kind of get in the way. So let me do that again, once again, very slowly. 97, 98, and 97, 98, and 99. Yes, that's right. Okay, here we go. All right. One more thing about these last two measures, which I've noted on the sheet music, is that what I've written is it says final two measures play straight with / no swing. That's the same thing. To play straight is the opposite of swing. And so what that means is that you are going to play them. If you were to play it with the metronome, you play it like this. Which is not how we've been playing it. We've been playing it like this. So you will play it straight. This is different than any other part in the song. You'll play it again like this. Nice little, kind of like a whisper in the wind. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just do this whole section. I'll do it twice for you, and it will help to put into practice and into your ear this repetition that I keep repeating, that I keep talking about. So part G, we'll do the whole thing, and then we will play the whole song together. And if there's anything else I can think of to mention, I will do that. But for right now, let's do all of part G with the metronome. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. Ring. Okay, let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. All right. And you finish the piece at that point. So as always, work on putting all those together. Hopefully this is a little bit of a speedier section because it's so repetitive from what we've done before and what you're doing even within the section. So once you get that, tag that on to part A, work on that, and then put the whole piece together. So I'm going to go ahead and play with the metronome. I'll keep the metronome on just to give a nice steady feel to it also, so again you can hear with these trickier beats where it lands in relation to the metronome, to that one of those 4 beats. So I'll keep that on. I'm not going to worry about flipping the sheet music throughout it, so there might be some very slight variations in the left hand in particular, but it'll give you an idea of the general flow of the piece, meaning the order of it, how it should go into one another, and yeah, just a nice way to end the tutorial. Yeah, we'll do that, and then I'll have any closing comments. Okay, so I changed my mind. Let's go ahead and bump this up to 110 rather than 100. I think it'll be good to just do it at a closer speed to where you normally would probably play this song. Of course, it can be played, at 100, and that's totally fine. It could be played maybe 120. That might be a little high, but anyways, 110 is about, I think is sufficient for playing it in general and also for a tutorial. So 110, we'll play this all the way through. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, two spots I want to note that I ended up playing slightly differently, just so you're not confused. So the first one was up here in this bridge. I played something like that. Slightly different, you could use that if you wanted, but just so you're not confused, it should go up to that G. So that's the first part. The second one is right at the end. I don't know exactly what I played. Oh yeah, I went down. No. That's what it should be. Or that's what it is in the sheet music. I always play it slightly different. But anyways, that part is a little bit different. That's a measure... measure 89 is slightly... I played it slightly different in that one. So just, again, I don't want you to be confused with that. But anyways, I hope you've had a great time with the tutorial. I've had fun making it. And as always, if you have any questions about this song, send me an email, put it in the comments, whatever's best for you. And of course, if you have any other requests for tutorials, for, particular songs to do tutorials for, make that known to me as well. I'm gonna keep that survey up on the post, I think it's called post tab on the YouTube channel, so you can take a look at that. As I go through another probably two tutorials, I'll put a new one up and have different options, so you're welcome to put a little vote on that as well. So anyways, I can't think of anything else, but hope it's been great for you. Hope it's been fun, and hope you enjoyed playing the piece and playing it for for yourself, for others, for prayer, for whatever purpose. So thanks for hanging in there. If you've made it this far, that's really awesome, really wonderful. And have a blessed day. Thank you so much. God bless.